On 9 days notice, representing Factory X Muay Thai, we have the short notice comeuppance for Cody Brundage replacing Punisoriano in a matchup against the Reaper SD Dumas. Matt, when you look at a fight like this, Cody Brundage hasn't won a fight in about a year. Cody Brundage has lost twice in a row by finish. Cody Brundage got finished about 2 months ago against Rodolfo Vieira. And if you just look at results on a page, it's bad. But if you go back and you watch the fights, Cody Brundage dropped Rodolfo Vieira. And the best part about that fight was we had a hair bet in that one. And I said that I would dye my hair blue if Cody Brundage shot for a takedown. And he didn't. But it ended up being the grappling that got him caught and submitted against Vieira nonetheless off of Vieira attempt. So when you look at a matchup like this, Matt, again, I realized why Cody Brundage jumped at the opportunity to replace Punisoriano.
You know Dana White called him kid when he called about this fight. Hey kid, we need you.
Well, I would say McMahon probably called Brundage representatives and not Dana White. But when you look at it for Dumas, there's good things and there's bad things about this. Dumas is getting ready for Soriano. Brundage fights exactly like Soriano. If you look at it for Brundage, look what Dumas did in his last fight in his debut against Josh Fremd. That Yinzer looked pretty good against Dumas with his takedowns and his submission ability. And for Dumas, you know him off Contender Series where he ended up getting that standing guillotine like he was Emmanuel Sanchez. He was on a 5-fight losing streak and lost last week against Archie Colgan, who's very good. But Dumas got that win over Matei Peñas. And for Dumas, other than that, on the regional scene with the Jorge Masvidal promotions, really, really quick finishes, really wonky striking, really uses his range well, leaves himself out there a little bit to get countered, but Dumas was able to go out there against not really the greatest level competition and look amazing. And getting ready for this fight, Dumas training at Fusion XL, a little bit of that tap with Rodolfo Vieira. So he has to have some, confidence in his own right getting ready for this one. The big reach advantage, a slight height advantage. If you look at it for Brundage, I mean, it's just an oil meets water type of fight.
It definitely is. And it's going to come down to how does Brundage use his pressure? Is he going to use his pressure to try to strike his way into the clinch to then go for takedowns? Because I think we're going to see a much more wrestling heavy version of Brundage because Dumas does do a good job of moving his feet and striking off of the back foot. But if Brundage can get him up against the cage, it'll really help him implement his own wrestling attack. But that's where it's going to come down to. How well is Brundage going to be able to not only hold Dumas down, but just avoid some of those... I don't think Dumas is going to be a big submission threat in this match, but if he can at least gain on the guillotine and make things uncomfortable for Brundage, I think Dumas is the vastly superior striker in this matchup. Now, he is going to have to watch out for some of those unorthodox parts of his game because he's going to leave himself open eventually against a guy who is going to be able to counter you better than Brundage. But if Brundage... I don't know, maybe he likes Tim Duncan. He was at a UFC event not that long ago. If he can be the big fundamental, though, and just keep the jab, keep his pressure, and stay in the face of a guy like Dumas, I could see him having success with his own game plan.
Who's the boxer now? Cody Brundage, the coming out party against Trayshawn Gore with the boxing. You saw him against Dalcio Lungiambula. Struggle with the distance management and have one of the craziest Hail Mary submission wins you're ever going to see in a matchup. Again, for Brundage's last 2 times out, he got finished by Lord Michael, but now it's Husar. There's Canadian Husars out there, but Lord Michael's one of the Polish. He gets the win there by finish, and then Brundage's last time out against Vieira, having all the success in the world. And then the rug got pulled out from under him, just like a Brundage fight against William Knight, where having all the success in the world, rug pulled out from under him. Brundage doesn't have a bad chin. Brundage doesn't have awful submission defense.
Featherweight Michael Johnson?
But he still gets finished. Nah, I don't know about that. But when
you
you
look by Darren Elkins, get knocked out.
When you look at a matchup like this, it'll be interesting to see, again, which version of which guy we get. Because for Dumas, great at that long range, training at Port City Combat, training at home, as well as Fusion XL, Brundage at a Factory Muay Thai. And we have seen a level up in the Brundage boxing since he moved from Michigan over to Colorado. We'll see how it plays out on, again, extremely short notice for Brundage, and for Dumas, fairly similar stylistic opponent. So Brundage slightly favored in this short notice play. If you have a look at Topology for the total votes, surprise that's there to you. I think the fans are going to see it pretty close, but maybe edge Brundage. I'm going to say over under 70% Brundage.
I'll say under.
I'm going to say under. Look at that. 314 total votes, 68% Brundage, 58 roughly percent by submission. For the 32% that have Dumas, 66% by the knockout. Who do you have in the matchup?
If it was on full training camp, I would have picked Brundage and not felt bad about it at all. But being the short notice nature of this fight, I'm a little bit concerned because I think Brundage is going to have a very elevated work rate to go out there and win this fight. It's not going to be enough to just stay in the face of a guy like Dumas. You've got to make use of that positioning too, because if he's just given time on the back foot to really set up some of his bigger power shots, I think he's going to be able to lead Brundage into something big. But I guess I'll go with Brundage. Short notice, full training camp. I like his skill set in this matchup, so I'll go with Brundage.
That's the trouble. We and a lot of other people were high on Dumas coming in to make that UFC debut against Josh Fremd. Fremd, a teammate of Cody Brundage, and it was kind of tricky going back, watching the tape, and really thinking about it. And I do have Brundage in the matchup, but again, it's unranked middleweights coming off a loss. One guy coming off of 2 finished losses.
Even ranked middleweights aren't great right now,
It's
guys.
a really, really tricky one. So be that as it may, Matt, both of us going with Cody Brundage to get the win and bring the win back to Factory X. A couple of Factory X fighters back-to-back in Onama and Brundage. And in the co-main event coming up, Macy Barbara to Team Alpha Male taking on Hebos Academy's own Amanda Hebos. A big-time matchup in that co-main event that you're not going to want to miss. So keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks, we always say.
Let's get into